Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to our third Wednesday parent resource meeting. I am so happy to be with you today. My name is Lottie Miner, and I am the project director for Oak Hill Regional Community Development Corporation. And our third Wednesday resource chats are part of our initiative called Healthy Kids Mississippi. And this is an initiative designed to help parents and other guardians and their children who qualify for Medicaid and CHIP get the resources, get the health care that they need so they can be healthier. And we know that there are so many things that factor into our health, our environment, our finances, world events, just any number of things. So we try to share on these resource chats different things that are going to help folks along the way. I am so happy today to be your moderator. We have with us this morning Sister Bettina Campbell, or Miss Bettina Campbell, who is our Healthy Kids Social Services Coordinator. And she also serves as one of our sisters. And she was kind enough to put this webinar together for us this morning. So good morning, Sister Bettina, Miss Bettina.
Good morning, Sister Lottie, Miss Lottie.
It's hard to say that sometimes, isn't it? We also have with us Thomas Duke Robinson, who is our technology and metrics director. He is going to be doing some of our behind the scenes producing. I almost want to say he's going to be on the wheels of steel. I don't know why I have DJing in my head this morning. So he's going to be on the technology wheels of steel this morning. Mr. Duke, are you able to pop on for a second so they can see your smiling face? There he is.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There he is. Good morning. All right. So this morning we are so excited to have with us two very skilled presenters who are going to help us learn some information that will prayerfully help parents, children, grandparents, society in general to do better on some things that are really, really prevalent right now. First, let me back up. I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge our board chair for Oak Hill Regional Community Development Corporation, Ms. Jennifer Garrett, and our executive director, Dr. Michael O. Minor. In addition to being on Zoom this morning, we are restreaming today's webinar to our Oak Hill Regional CDC and Healthy Kids Facebook pages. And so I encourage our viewers to share on their social media pages. We want this information to be shared widely. Again, we've got some dynamic panelists. We're going to talk about some important subjects today that affect the lives of families who may be enrolled or plan to enroll in either Medicaid CHIP or marketplace coverage. Remember our two initiatives that help with outreach, enrollment, and education for these two programs are Healthy Kids Mississippi and Get Covered Mississippi. All right, first of all, we have Pastor Charlie Mcbride Jr. So Pastor Mcbride and his lovely wife are some movers and shakers, and I am very blessed to call them friends. Pastor Mcbride is a community leader. He's a noted speaker and a noted pastor, not only in North Mississippi. I think he's known all over the area. He is a school administrator, a volunteer basketball coach, and Pastor Mcbride is a visionary who has a heart for people, especially a heart for our young people, our children. He's currently employed with the YMCA of Memphis and YMCA of Memphis and the Mid-South. I wonder, can I say that 3 times fast? He is the program director for 11 sites that fall under the YMCA of Memphis and the Mid-South. These sites provide before and after care services for students, children. We know that most of our children have working parents. So, we don't want them going home alone. I remember when I was in school, and I apologize for whatever's going on with my eye. Sister Bettina, if I go dark for a moment, you'll know that something was happening with my eye, and you or Brother Duke, please take over. But at any rate, we know that back in the day, I'll say it this way, back in the day, we coined a term called latchkey children. And that was kids who went home, they had a key, they went in their home and they were unsupervised. Thank God now there are programs available like the ones that Pastor Mcbride oversees to ensure that children don't have to be latchkey children. They can be supervised by responsible adults who are going to do right by them and hopefully take care of them sometimes with more diligence than their parents do. And that's unfortunate. But Pastor Mcbride has been with the Y for 3 years. Prior to that, he was a site director at an inner city elementary school for a number of years, doing the same thing with after school programs. He comes from humble beginnings and life experiences that he gladly shares with anyone. And he is always willing just to try to help somebody. As a graduate of Job Corps after leaving high school, Pastor Mcbride says he found himself moving from job to job, from one disappointment to another disappointment to another disappointment. So he loves sharing his story with people. I'm excited to hear his story. I'm going to call it a testimony. And the most important part is he shares about how God turned his life around and how he learned to never give up on yourself, even when everyone else has. He dreamed, he says, of being a father, a family man like his father. and he's certainly had the chance to do that, and he's exhibiting that through being a great dad to 3 children, 3 sons, and a lovely wife for 15 years. And his goal is just to help young folks get to the next level in their life. And I think we all share that prayerfully as a goal. So thank you, Pastor, for joining us this morning. Our second panelist today is Miss Carol Williams. We're going to bring Miss Carol up so we can see her lovely face. Carol is an advocate for the community. She serves as the First Lady of Mount St. Joseph University, when her husband serves as a university president. On campus, she is actively engaged with students, faculty, staff, and alumni. And I don't believe she's able to bring her camera on right now, but she will be when she gets ready to make her presentation. But I do want to go ahead and introduce her. So she's active on the campus. She's active with the Board of Trustees and with other university constituents by sponsoring, hosting, and co-hosting various programs, including health and wellness programs, educational, and a variety of cultural and sporting events. She's a member of the Board of Directors at Bethany House Services, a family homeless shelter, and Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, and also Your Center in Flint, Michigan. Ms. Carol is a certified public accountant. She's a CPA, and she serves on the investment committee of the Cincinnati Women's Club. She holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Michigan at Flint and an MBA from Clark Atlanta University. And she and her husband reside in Cincinnati, Ohio. They have 2 adult children, a son-in-law, and a grandson. And she's going to share with us today about student financial aid, federal aid, and other forms of aid that can help our young folks when they get ready to graduate, because we want to see our children go further if they can. We know that high school is not always enough. So she's going to talk about some ways that families can make that happen, regardless of their financial state. So let's get started. Audience, I want to encourage you again to share this webinar on your social media networks. Feel free to post questions in our chat. We have Mr. Thomas Duke Robinson is monitoring for comments, and he'll be helping me to voice your comments for you as we go through this webinar. And we'll do our best to respond to everybody's questions. So let's get started. Let's go on to Pastor McBride. Pastor McBride. All right. All right, sir. So happy again to have you here with us this morning. I want to hear about bullying. I want to learn something this morning that's going to help us do better with this bullying situation.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank God for this opportunity, to Dr. Minor, First Lady Minor, Mrs. Campbell, and to the Healthy Kids Mississippi initiative. I believe in this is a great opportunity for us to get the word out about bullying, about how to prevent bullying and how to address it in a way that is healthy. So either the one that's being victimized by the bullying or the one that's doing the bullying can understand, grow out of it, and we can make our children very positive in this society. It is true. I'm right now currently a program coordinator, director at the YMCA, going on 4 years. And it's just a joy for me to go into the before and after care programs, to be able to share my personal story about my life. So when I do see the young men and the young women that's having trouble with dealing with their emotions in a way that's positive, dealing with the differences, I'm able to connect with them, because I was once one of those children that didn't have a lot growing up, but we had enough, but it was always that comparison, either your shade of color or your size, or it was something that was always a difference. And now I'm able, God had planted me in a place to where I can start with the elementary children and then middle school to plant the seed of positivism, where they'll be able to see themselves as different, but yet the same. And so another opportunity that I think was a blessing, that my oldest son was in middle school at one point that he was participating in bullying someone. The way he looked at it at the time, he didn't think it was bullying because he wasn't the one actually initiating it, but he was the one participating, laughing. It was his best friend, and he would just egg his friend on to continue to do the bullying. So to work through that process as I was a site director at the time, to work through the process as seeing your own child getting a call from school saying that your child is bullying. It was a good perspective for me and a good opportunity for me to make sure that while I'm helping others outside of my house, I have to make sure that my children inside of the house are getting the same education, the same love that I'm giving outside of the house. So I have a quote that I'm going to use, then we're going to start on the presentation. So the quote says this: the best way to deal with bullying is to stop it before it starts. And so that is what really one of my goals when I talk with the parents at school, when we have our forums with our parents, to get them to understand that bullying is a real thing now. And the children in this day and age, in this climate, dealing with COVID and everything else, are do not need bullying to be another pressure point in their lives. And so we try to teach our parents to talk with their kids and to discuss with their children how to deal and initiate conversation with bullying. So parenting in the age of bullying. Nowadays, bullying is not only at school, it's not only in your neighborhood, but as we know, if we have children, they have their cell phone. So we have cyberbullying. We have the racism that's going on in the world, the hatred, the LGBTQIA community, the discrimination, the homophobia. All of that is a direct cause of mental health issues in this epidemic. And we have to understand and address this in an appropriate manner. No longer can we say as parents, oh, you'll be okay, get over it. Oh, toughen your skin up. It'll be okay. People gonna always talk about you. No, the children nowadays need the care, need the concern, and they need the understanding of how do I deal with going to school when people are laughing at me? How do I deal with going to school and they talking about the way I look, my size, and my color? How do I appropriately deal with that? And so, yeah, the problem is bullying. It's no longer a cliche where you're hearing, oh, they bullying me, then it's nothing but get over it. But it's a real issue for our children. At schools, they have problems going on. As if you can remember, probably maybe 2-3 weeks ago in Texas, the young man got into a fight because he was getting bullied. The bully jumped on him. He ended up bringing a gun to school and started shooting. The result of not effectively taking care of or resolving the bullying issue situation can lead to suicide, can lead to murder, could lead to loss of life, jail time. But at the end result, low self-esteem. Low self-esteem, as we know as adults, can prevent you from prevailing to where God is preparing you to. Will prevent you from wanting to even go out and get a job, to even want to dress up, or even want to care about yourself. So we have to solve this problem in a very strategic type way. So to know that the problem has been solved for your child. If you have a child and the teacher calls or the guidance counselor or the principal give you a call, first of all, listen to them. Listen out what they're saying. Do not go in defensive mode saying, well, not my child. I know my child. My child would never do this. I could have said the same thing when they call about my son. So I know my son is not a bully, but I heard them out. Then I've started having positive conversations with my son about what's going on, explain to me what is happening. And you'll notice a change when the grades for your children will change. They'll usually have F's and D's, conduct, N's and U's on a consistent basis. The teacher have the communication with the email, through chat, where the teachers can communicate with you to let you know that I can see a difference in your child. I can notice something that's going on that's better. Or even with the principals of the school counselor, where you're able to have that positive feedback to understand all these steps that we're taking since I found out about my child issue. The steps that we're taking, is it being effective? Are we seeing a turnaround? So did you know, 1 out of every 5 students report being bullied? That's major. Every 5 students. That means if you have 20 students in class, it's a possibility 4 of them are being bullied verbally through social media, getting ousted, not being involved in school. Also, bullying occurred in the following places: the hallways, the stairwell at school, the classroom, the cafeteria, outside school grounds, online, text, the bathroom, or the locker room, and on the school bus. People, I want to let you know there's so many options and ways where your child can be bullied. That's why you must have that open conversation and that healthy conversation with your child about how's your day going? Is everything going right? You know that this is a safe space for you. You can come talk to me about anything. Let's stop being too busy for our children. Let's stop letting our children be the last thing we think about. Let's stop making sure they eat, but they're not healthy enough in their mind. 49.8% of tweens, 9 to 12-year-olds, say they have experienced bullying at school. 14.5% of the tweens shared their experience bullying online. As much as our children be online, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all the other online forums that they have, we have to be observant. Don't want to be overbearing. Want to give them a little freedom, but we don't want to give them so much freedom then dealing with something that they do not know how to handle. And 13% of the tweens 9 to 12 years old reported experiencing bullying at school online, while only 1% reported bullying solely online. I left those two together, the 49% and the 13%. They almost sound the same, but they're a little different. The difference is that in the 49.8%, they said they experienced bullying, but the 13% reported it. What that is saying that our children are dealing with some things that they're not telling us. They're not comfortable, or they don't have the confidence, and if they tell us, it will be resolved. So the reporting is so important that we tell our children, look, tell somebody what's going on. If you think you're being bullied, let us know so we can kind of discuss, okay, that may not be bullying. Maybe a little harassment, but it's not direct bullying. So we can kind of help them understand and teach them the difference between harassment, bullying, or someone just trying to be your friend. Then among students between the age of 12 and 18, reported being bullied. 15% were bullied online and by text. Again, online bullying is real. Text messages are real. So we must check our children's phone. We know we want them to have their freedom, but we must just make sure that they're not being bullied as well. So the question comes about, okay, my child is getting bullied. How do I work through? How do I resolve? How can I get my child to open up? We're talking about bullying is and how we stand up to it in a safe manner. There are online resources that we can get and be able to talk with our children about. Let the children know at your church, at your family venues, even at your home, that bullying is unacceptable. If you partaking as directly, or if you're participating in it, laughing at someone when they don't look like you, laughing at someone when they don't act like you, make sure you can tell your children that there's help out there for them. There are people you can talk to. You have your teacher, your guidance counselor, you have your pastor, you have your friends that you can talk to that will help you out. How do you have those conversations? I've noticed dinner nowadays is probably because we're so busy, it's helter-skelter. What do you want for dinner? Where do you want to go? Let's pick you something up for dinner. But every once in a while, carve time out of your week, carve time out of your life that's so busy to sit down and have a good old-fashioned family dinner. Have them help you cook in the kitchen. You may have them help you cook the dinner, show them how to cook, and in the midst of that conversation, how school is going, right? How's things in your classroom? How's your grades? Any problem that you're facing that you may want to talk about? We have family game night at the house. We'll have it on Friday night where everyone can possibly stay up a little later. We like playing spades. We're a spades family. We like playing spades and Monopoly. And while we're playing spades and Monopoly, we talk about school. We talk about life. We talk about their future and talk about how they feel. And make sure your children know that you are a safe space, that you would not retaliate and think they're a bad person because they may be the bully, or they may be being bullied and have their self-esteem so low that they feel like you're going to yell at them because they did not stand up for themselves. Make sure that when you speak to them out of your emotions, that your emotions are not out of hurt, that you're not speaking out of hurt, but you're speaking from your heart. Solution number 2, have healthy interactions. Do not interrogate your kids. Just have an interest in what they're doing. Don't make them feel like that I need to know this now. You have to tell me now. Say, hey, if you won't tell me, is there anyone else I can take you to that you can discuss this matter with, that you trust? Because in life, as parents, we may sometimes raise our voice or do some things or say some things where have our children that may not want to talk to us about the serious problems that they have. It may not, that trust may not be there now. And as a parent, we have to be honest with ourselves and, hey, I may have broken that trust because I yelled at them when I should not have, because I was in a bad mood. I took it out on them. So it is that we had a conversation. If you don't want to talk to me, who do you want to talk to? Because I want to give you the help. And give positive feedback. And if they tell you they're getting bullied, just let them know it's okay. Those children are wrong. You are precious in God's sight. I love you just the way you are. And if they're on the other end of the spectrum, being the bully, you let them know, say, hey, let's work through these emotions. What's going on? I know you are better than that. Always talk back and speak positive things in their life. Ensure that the child that has been the target of bullying or someone who's bullied know that you're not there to judge, but you only want to help. You only want to help. Say, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. I do not want to judge you. All of us have made mistakes in our lives, and we will continue to make mistakes, but we need someone to help you. So I want to be the one to help. So be proactive, first of all. Like I say, the best way to deal with bullying is to stop it before it starts. But if it's already happening, let's be reactive in a positive manner. Not only that, let's stay attentive. Let's be attentive and look for warning signs. They're coming home. They have unexplainable injuries. They're coming home and they're limping, and you ask them what happened. They tell you, well, I fell on the playground. I fell outside. Then it's still limping. Then you ask them again, or they tell someone else, well, I was in class and someone, you constantly do not get the same story over and over again. Let's look for those warning signs. If they come home very, very hungry, be like, did you not eat lunch? Yeah, I ate lunch. Then for days and days on hand, 2 or 3 days in a row, then they don't eat lunch. Try to find out. Reach out to the school, say, I have a concern, my child is not eating. Is it because they don't like the food, or is it because someone is taking their lunch? Because remember, bullying will happen in the lunchroom as well. One of the key signs are the decline in grades, the loss of interest in schoolwork, or just not wanting to go to school. Those 3 things right there are true signs. If you know your child or your family member grades was at the top of the class, and all of a sudden they start declining, something going on. First of all, it's their self-esteem has dropped. Then there's the question, why? Why have your grades dropped? What's going on? Let me know. I want to help you. I don't want to hurt you with my words. I don't want to hurt you any further than you have already been hurt. But I want to help you. So let me know what is going on. So the question comes about, why is bullying so prevalent right now? Snapchat, social media, Instagram, TikTok. Why is that so important? Come to find out, you can get paid from your videos. You get paid for your things you do. So people will put bullying videos and post them up on Snapchat to get the likes, to get the follows, to become popular with their friends. Sometimes they just want to show allegiance. Though my son was doing when he in the 7th grade, that he wanted to show his friend, I'm your friend. I'm going to laugh with you. Let's go over there and antagonize this person. That is not healthy. So you have to walk through the process. Sometimes they live with family members or in neighborhoods, because living in the inner city, every neighborhood is not a positive neighborhood for the child to be in, where bullying and aggression and violence is popular. where when they have to walk home, they have their neighbor, they have their friends, or even inside their house, people selling drugs, people doing things, the music that they listen to. I know a lot of times when I worked at Holmes Road Elementary in the inner city of Memphis, the parent would come pick up their child. First of all, they would come pick up this child with a scent of marijuana. That's not positive. Then the music that they're listening to would be so loud, and when the child get in the car, they would not turn the music down. They'll leave off with the child, and 9 times out of 10, that parent that picking up their child, I had a problem with them. And sometimes it is the household that they are in. So you may have parents or caregivers that do not provide emotional support or communication. Sometimes kids just want to be loved. Simple. They want to be held. They want to be said something positive. They go home. A lot of parents just buy food, put them in the room, let them live their life. But kids want to be nurtured. They want to be loved. They need it from us. Or they may have been bullied in the past or currently getting bullied. So they up under the impression, hey, this is the way I need to be. Let me push you around before I get pushed around again. A lack of understanding their emotions. We're in a climate right now where they have to deal with a lot. As a child, it is a lot that they have to deal with. The virtual online learning right now, being out of school for about a year and a half, trying to understand why I have to wear a mask all the time, why I can't hug and be around my friends like I used to be. Those are a lot of emotions and mental state that they have to deal with. And then being in the elementary, that is a lot. There's a lot. So what they do not know how to control their emotions, so they take it out on their friends or their other people. They may be in school where a conduct problem and bullying are not properly addressed. Just to be honest, all schools do not operate the same. All schools do not react to the situations the same. Some be overlooked, some let it go, some really take the initiative and try to fix what's going on in their school system. So we must have those conversations with our children, about the teacher, about what's going on in their class, what they're learning, how they feel about school, and to get a clear understanding of what's going on in their lives. And so ultimately, they may just experience being excluded, not accepted, or stigmatized at school. As I go into all my different programs, I see different children. I see different children, different dynamics, different backgrounds. And I try to ensure that if I see a group of kids and I see one kid sitting to the side, I try to grab that child that's sitting to the side and try to figure out what that child wants to do at the time. And try to find one of the most friendly kids in the program and connect them with that child to make that child feel as part of the program. It's difficult, it's hard, and it is a reality that we're living in. Cyberbullying. If you know someone that is targeted by cyberbullying, here's some things that you can teach them, tell them. First of all, never respond. Never respond to someone that's trying to bully you over the internet, over social media. Do not respond. If you're being bullied, make copies, screenshots of what's going on, the text messages, the emails, or any other communication. Screenshot it, save it, and share it with the proper authorities. Report it to the website, to the app, connect with the internet service, and most definitely call the law enforcement. If it's happening at school, let the principal, the teachers know. As a parent, take it upon yourself to go up to the school, take time out, go to the school, speak with the school administrator, the guidance counselor. They want to know, they want to help. And if you cannot get any help from the school, at the YMCA, we all say, we tell everybody this, everybody boss has a boss, right? Everybody boss have a boss. So it is that if you can't get it from the school system, go to the board. And then you can't go to the board, just get the police involved, you get those other agencies involved so we can get this handled correctly. Then you tell the kids, block the post, block the messages, block the person and all the text messages. Stop reading it. You don't have to have it anymore. Change your email address, or your screen name, your phone number, and passwords. Yes, it is inconvenient, but these are preventative measures that you can take that will be healthy, strong, that will keep us keep our children in a mind state where their self-esteem would be high and they have a positive outlook on life. Then if you have those friends, it's usually your friends that's that are not the ones that they need to be around, let them know, hey, find you some real friends that's going to prepare you to your future. And the only way you'll know what that future will be is when you have those healthy conversations during dinner time, the healthy conversation during game night, the healthy conversations when you are having fun. You can remind them, hey, didn't you tell me that you want to go to this school? Didn't you tell me you want to be this in life? Now, are these friends right here that you have going to prepare you through here, or are they going to pull you away from your goals? Get them to see that some of their decisions that they're making, some of the friends that they have around, are not the ones that they're going to help them make it to where they're trying to reach. So the children have sources of hope. Now, we have the National Suicide Preventive Lifeline, where you can call and talk with them, or you can get on a conversation, speakerphone with your child and try to talk through it, or maybe they want to talk one-on-one. And since we are in a climate where we are dealing with the GLBT group, and so they have a line for them as well for the young people, because you want them talking to someone they're comfortable in talking to. You have to deal with the child where they are. To yell at them, you're not like that. You don't supposed to be like that. God made you differently, this, that, and the other. At that point, they need help. They need mental help. The spiritual help will come, but right now they need the mental help to understand you will accept me as I am. When you can love them where they are, they will be willing to listen to you about the love of Christ. But to just pound it with the love of Christ, but never help them with the mental state that they're in, I would say as a pastor, we have to do better on that effort. And those are a couple of websites that I found that we can send out as a link where you can read about bullying, how to stop bullying, how to prevent it. And so it is that I want to just spread the word out that bullying is real. In 2021, it is a real pandemic, just like the COVID. So we have to address it head on in a positive manner. And I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this topic.
Pastor McBride, that was absolutely, positively fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. That is information that all of us need to know. And it's not just the inner city children. I know that it's all over. I know in Mississippi, there's a lot of rural areas, but it's the same. It is the exact same thing. The environment may look different, but the concept is the same. So thank you so much for sharing that information. And I have a couple of questions. I'm going to save them for the end because I do want to move on. I want to give Miss Carol Williams an opportunity to bring us her presentation about the money that it takes to get college education rolling. And I think these topics fit very well together, because if we don't capture these children's attention, whether they are the one who's doing the bullying or the one who's being bullied, and get them on the right track, there won't be much need to even think about what Carol's going to talk about, because we know that the system, particularly in the state of Mississippi, has somewhere for those children, and it's not where we want them to go. And it's not just the one who's the bully. Sometimes it's the one who is the recipient also gets pushed aside by the system, because they get labeled a certain kind of way because they don't respond the way perhaps someone else might respond. So all of this works very well together. So thank you, Pastor. God bless you for sharing and for being such a wonderful voice for our young people. All right, we're going to move on to our second panelist. So happy to have Carol Williams with us, and we are thankful that she and Thomas, Mr. Duke, were able to get the technology problems all taken care of. We are thankful for that, and we're going to move on. We're excited about her topic. Today, she's going to talk about financial aid, ways that students and parents can finance their education, and some of the things that they need to be thinking about and preparing for as they start thinking about college. All right, Ms. Carol.
Well, good afternoon. And I first have to say, I just came back from the dentist with major work. So I'm going to speak slowly.
Bless your heart.
And so I'm at the point where the medicine from the dentist's office is wearing off, and the over-the-counter has not kicked in yet. So I'm speaking slowly, and I do have a graphic to talk through so that where you cannot understand me, we'll be able to read. So I'm not medicated mentally, but my speech is impaired because of the dentist. So are we
Let
able
me
to?
interrupt you. Let me interrupt you.
Mhm.
Thank you for doing this for us today, because you know you did not have to do it under
Well,
these circumstances.
well, we have to get the kids in. So, and it's already October, so we're a little behind. So we got to get moving to make sure that our students can get into school. So,
Ma'am, they're behind because the pandemic has thrown everybody off on everything. So please go
Yeah.
ahead and we're looking forward to you. Go right ahead.
so are we able to show? I sent in a one-pager Word doc. Are we able to show that?
Did you send it to Duke or to who did you send it to? Because what I did when I saw you were having video problems, I pulled together some things. It may not be the same thing you had, but we want to make sure that we grasp. And if you don't have the screen up, we can listen to you and we can look at your lovely face. Don't worry about it.
Well, so we're not, wait, if we could share, let me see if I can pull it up on my screen. Because
So,
I jumped on a different computer, so.
okay. Continue speaking. I'm going to go ahead and make you a co-host if you'll just continue speaking with your presentation, okay?
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is that the college application and financial aid process begins when you first enter high school. And when we enter high school, our students have to start thinking about the classes which they're taking, their grades, and their extracurriculum activities, sports, music, computer, whatever they're doing. At 9th grade or 10th grade, wherever high school begins, you have to start thinking about college. And freshman year is not grade 13. So there's a whole different mindset set. Freshman year is not grade 13. So our student is entering high school, and now we have to start making some choices as to what they want to do. And this is still a great time to explore. I know when I entered high school, I wanted to be in medicine. And so I took, at the time, we could be literally candy stripers at the hospital for free. I mean, it was free, it was a volunteer. It was the best program I ever attended because working for free taught me quickly that I do not need to work in the hospital because sick people make me sick. And I would go in there, my father would pick me up afterwards, and I would literally be sick. I don't have the temperament to work with persons who are ill. So that was the best training ever for me.
You can now share your screen. You do
okay, and that'll help you to be able to understand better what I'm saying. Let me pull up the document.
While you're pulling up the document, I'll just be talking a little bit.
Okay.
This topic is near and dear to my heart. I spent about the first 17 or 18 years of my career as a college administrator with a focus on enrollment, recruitment, financial resources, and campus operations. So I can attest to the fact that if families don't understand the concepts that you're talking about today, it can be shocking when that child gets ready to enter college. Also, if it is a first generation student, I was a first generation college student, and most of us people of color, a lot of us are the first ones in our family to ever go to college. In some cases, the first one to graduate from high school. So all of this can be foreign. So it's very important to start early. one thing that Carol mentioned, and I think Pastor McBride has mentioned as well, is guidance counselors. Guidance counselors. Get to know who your guidance counselor is so they can help you in selecting the right classes, doing the right mix of activities, because those things are going to help build a portfolio to help you with scholarship applications. All right. So volunteering is important. All of that helps. Aside from, obviously, we know they need to make the grades for scholarships. All right, you have your screen up. Go right ahead.
Yes, thank you. So again, once you get into high school, the students need to focus on every grade does matter. And so, you know, that philosophy 101, that English lit class, it does matter. So we have to encourage our students, no matter what their plans after college is, to do well, to do well. Number two, take the SAT and the ACT exam early and often. And in many schools, they will have a prep program in the 10th grade. Have your student take the exam then so that they can get a baseline. And I've spoken with a lot of parents where they have paid for football camp, dancing, cheerleading, computer programming, all type of extra activity, but they will not put down the necessary dollars to pay for the ACT, SAT prep program. This is the most consequential program you can pay. Most of our students will not get scholarships in sports or music or any of their extracurriculum. It is really on their merit. And even in some of those cases where they will continue in sports or dance or another program which can provide scholarship, those scholarships still will be based on, in many cases, their ACT tests, their exam tests. So pay the money. Not only will it help them prepare for their exam, but it will help them in their high school academics. My son was a slow reader. So in doing the ACT test, he could not, on the first time, he could not get through all of the questions. There's a ton of reading that goes on. And if you're slow, not a poor reader, but you're a little slower than what these time tests are, you will not get through it. So in taking a prep program, an outside program, it helped him with his reading abilities, which aided him in not only on the ACT test, but also in school. We invest in everything else. This is your number one financial aid program. I am sorry, This is your number one financial aid program, your scores. Take it often. And when you first take the test, and anytime, you do not have to report those scores to any schools. So many students in some school, and let's go to the school, some schools will take your exam and let's say you score a 22 on it. And then you continue to take it, they will take all of your scores and average them out. So if you're building up your readiness, don't send your scores in. It is, but then if you find out, hey, I did well, send it in. So you do not have to report your scores to the school of choice when you take it. You can take the test multiple times. And again, I'll use my son. He took it one time, he scored very well on half of it, not so well on this other part of it. Next time he took it, he scored well on section B, but not section A. So I I said, come on, let's just, one more time. You just got to merge those two thought processes. He took it one more time. We opened the envelope. His score was high enough this time to get a full ride to Howard University. So practice makes perfect. Practice improves the student's ability, their confidence, and possibly it will move them up in what they can get from the university or colleges. It really does matter. My daughter, it was like, come on, take the test again. She's motivated differently. So for her, I literally said, I will give you $1,000 in cash in your account to take the test again, because I wanted her to, again, I just needed 2 more points on her score to get better scholarships. And again, she got a scholarship to Howard based on, again, continual testing. Too many times, we and Black people will not pay the money and will not encourage our student to continue to test. The $1,000 for her to take that test was a drop in the bucket to the tuition fees and books at Howard University. Pay your kids if that's what motivates them. It's worth it. And for my son, it was just, would you please do it again? And he did. So, so take it often. During your sophomore, junior, and even into your senior year, parents, take your student to different colleges. They may think they want to go here, or you may want them to go to your school, or you may want them to go to a particular school. Let them go to each campus and see what's the right school for him or her. And it's very different. And I talk to parents all the time about either where parents want their child to be a legacy, go to the school that they went to, or the other part, which is kind of hard, they want them to go to the school that they couldn't get into. And your child cannot live your dreams for you. It is interesting when a student steps on the campus, he or she will know whether or not that's a school for them. Now remember, they will be there, living there or commuting there. They will be there. They have to feel comfortable. It is not, at this point, it is not about you. It is not about you. It's about finding a school, a place where your student is comfortable. And I've seen too many students at too many different schools where it was not the right fit. The big schools, the Big Ten, the SECs, those schools are not for everyone. Many of our students get lost in a crowd of 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. Our students can get lost in an auditorium for English 101, where there is literally 200 students. So sometimes bigger is not always best. But then there are those students who will simply thrive in those environments. That's what they were made for. Again, take your student to the campus, let them walk about, let them talk to other people, see how the faculty, staff, and offices treat you and your student. They're going to be the protectors. You know, is it every kid for himself, or it's like, oh, hey, you need to come over here. So really visit the campuses and just don't go, and actually don't go during homecoming weekend. It's a show. It's a show. And you want to be there when life is normal. You want to see life. How is everyday life on the campus? So you want to visit the colleges. You want to read what the application requirements are. You want to have them look at what the essays were in the past and have them starting to think differently. Because again, college is not the 13th grade. It is a whole new environment. And when your student steps on campus, it's different. It's a change in what's going to happen. You also want to examine their financial aid structure. And many times you'll see a price tag of $35,000, $26,000. But after, what you want to find out, what is the net effect? Because most colleges and universities, 100% of their students are getting some type of aid. So you want to find out what that net effect is. What do I qualify for? And what I found interesting, I was talking with our financial aid director, and I brought up a case where someone told me that their student could not, it was another conversation, but I presented this problem. Their student could not qualify for a government grant because she was delinquent on her federal student grant. Once that grant was filed in the name of the parent, when your student steps on campus, your student is an independent adult who can apply for that grant in his or her name. So just because it was rejected the way in which it was filed, have your student work with financial aid to refile that grant application under his or her name. Now, this is a number one, this is the worst thing that can happen. Do not take more money than is needed, because in the end, that money is to be repaid or you will be delinquent as well. Do not overestimate your expenses so that the student can live above his or her means so that they can drive a car. And I have seen this many times where parents have used the student loan of their child to finance their lifestyle. And students will graduate with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and half of it wasn't even there. So please, please do not take more money than is needed to get through school. These are financial aid to get your student through college. But that when you start hearing about student debt, that's one cause of it. Another big problem with student debt, and which is actually more in the graduate program than in undergrad, is that go to a college that you can afford. So it would be fabulous if you could go to this Ivy League private school that's at $60,000, $70,000 a year. But if you're not financially able, there has to be a reality check. Do not, you have to live sometimes within your means. And unless there's a super specialty academic program at that school, your student and you have to live within your means so that that student is not burdened with unnecessary debt. There are typically, whatever program is out there, that program is also offered at a state school. Or the student can also get that additional programming at the graduate level. But don't go to a school that you literally cannot afford to attend just because the name of it. Okay. So the summer before your senior year, this is a big deal because you are now in a college application writing process. You kind of narrowed your school down from the ocean to a small pond. You got 4 or 5 schools that you would like, that you're interested in. You have your number one selection, but you have some backups. You have to get those applications, complete them, and look at the essays and start writing the essays. And you will find if you're applying to multiple schools that the essays are pretty similar. So they don't have to write 6 totally different essays, but if they write one good one, 2 good ones, you just start manipulating, you start altering them to fit the question. Make sure you answer the question. That's the number 1 check. So you start writing your essay, have your student have that essay reviewed. If you're not the best writer, get a friend, get a coworker to help your student on writing. So much it will be judged on that. So that's what you're doing to the summer, and you're still looking at university colleges and community colleges and other programs. August, September, when they go into school, their first thing to do is complete their application. They need to get their teacher, counselors, ministers, coaches, anyone who can write a good recommendation for that student to start writing. So within the first week, 2 weeks, give the teacher a chance to get into class. Your students should be approaching their favorite professor, teacher, principal, their minister, their coaches to ask for a recommendation. You want that letter on their desk first. You want to be at the top of the pile, because by December, teachers are ready to go on break. They're inundated with these last minute offers, and it won't get done. And it's unfair. If you want a good recommendation from your teacher, show your teacher that you're in charge, you're proactive, and you want to go to that teacher up front to ask for that recommendation. And also the teacher will also be able to guide them along the way, maybe review their essay. Don't go to your minister if you haven't seen him in 6 years. That's not going to work. But you do want to get those essays in, and you want to get it completed, and you really want to get your application in by November. By the end of November, your application is sitting in the admissions office of your multiple schools. And they do have it's a multi-college application program. I know the HBCUs have it, other areas, I can't recall the name. But use that. And at $125 or whatever the fee is now, your students will have to start making choices. And that's why if you can use that application that goes to multiple schools, that is helpful. Again, take the SAT, ACT test. If you're a little wheezy about it, don't send it to your top schools, get the scores, check it out again, and take it. And then in October, so September, they're working on their application. In October, the parent, want to complete the FAFSA. And this is a free application for federal student aid. Now, a student will have to complete this if they want any federal-backed financial aid program. It is not used technically for merit-based programs. So if you score well on your SAT and that qualifies for scholarship at your school, you'll get that. But even then, those schools will like to see your FAFSA submitted. Now, schools only have X amount of dollars. And even if you score a 34, or I'm sorry, 22, 20, yeah, in the 30s, whatever the numbers are, I'm off. Even if you score at the 10% level, if the money is gone, the money is gone. And so in October, November, financial aid is stacking up the application. First come, first serve. So you want to get in the pile. You want to get on the financial aid desk so that when all of the pieces, when all of the pieces come together, here's the student application. Now FASB is bumping into it. Maybe it's missing a recommendation that's sliding into it. Final grades will not hit until the next semester. But even when those come in, that's just completing your student application. The application must get in there. You've got to be at the top of the pile because money will run out. And even at the merit student level, even if your student is playing a sport, they were guaranteed, if the money is gone, the money is gone. So that's the number one process of getting the best chance to obtaining financial aid. Early application, your FAFSA, and continuing to improve your scores, your test grade, and don't let your students slack off. That last semester in school, they may have been accepted into their dream school, and they get the college get those final grades, and they see this student didn't care to complete the run. It's kind of like the Olympic men's 4x4 track team versus the women. If the men drop that baton in the handoff, historically, I think they finally did it this year, they will not complete the race. They will just like, we dropped the baton, it's over, and we're not going to win. If the women have a bad handoff, they will take the baton and finish the race. And that's what they're looking for when it's starting to get tight. Like, they'll look at those last grade and who ran through the finish line, who ran all the way to the end, rather than, okay, I got accepted, life is good, I'm just going to coast the rest of the way. It will make a difference. It will make a difference because the following year, they're still looking at your student. So make sure your student run through the tape. And then finally, we had to do this with our children because my husband teaches at a university, is that their plan G down to Z was that they had to apply as their backup plan to his university. We were pretty sure that they could get in there. They had a little bit of a push, but they have to have a plan B. And I know when I was going to college, I had planned to go to, I did go to the University of Michigan. I planned to be in Ann Arbor. In January of my senior year, my mother was picking me up from my co-op job. She was very late because my father had had a heart attack, was taken to the hospital. And as he was recovering, my mother asked me not to go away to school that semester. That, like if I would wait and go away the following year, she needed the help at home. And so I attended the University of Flint.
Carol.
Yeah.
You have done a fabulous job. I hate to cut you off, but we are at 12:05 actually.
I am so sorry.
And we wanted to have a little bit time for question and answer. We won't have that opportunity today, but I thank you so much for sharing. And I was really getting into your story, but time is of the essence. If I can ask you to stop sharing your screen, thank you so much. We appreciate you very much. So on the financial aid issue, folks, I know that the population that we have for Medicaid and CHIP, some of the examples that Ms. Carol gave us may be out of the question for these families. Most families who qualify for Medicaid and CHIP can't incentivize their child with $1,000. We know that. Right. But there are other ways, because that's the population that we're targeting here. But there's so many other ways that we can incentivize a child For our needier children, it may be that particular pair of tennis shoes that the parent has been unable to afford previously. And maybe that parent has squirreled away some money and one time they can get them that pair of shoes. So there are a lot of other ways that our children can be incentivized, but I love the example, and it's a blessing that you were able to do that. It just shows that people who look like us can do those things. We can pull ourselves out of whatever our state may be, and education is the key to doing that. Ms. Carroll has told us that it starts with 9th grade. For families who are first generation with sending their children to college, all they may know to tell that child is go in there and get your lesson. You better make A's and B's. And for some households, that is good enough. And prayerfully, when they get into the classroom and when they get to school, maybe there's somebody in after school program in the person of Charlie Mcbride who's going to give that child some extra that the parent can't give them. Or maybe there's a wonderful guidance counselor who recognizes, okay, look at little Jane over here. Jane is a straight A student, but her mama didn't get out of the 11th grade. Let me give Jane what she needs. Mama's doing a great job, but she can't teach her about college. Or perhaps there's a child that's a member of a congregation where a pastor has been blessed to go to an Ivy League school. I'll say this, you don't always have to be from a rich family to go to an Ivy League school. I'll use Dr. Minor for an example. He came from a rural town in Coldwater, didn't have a lot of money, but what he was blessed with up top got him into that school. And it does take effort. It takes a lot. It does cost money. Carol, you did a great job of lining it up for us. So families, remember that there are multiple streams, multiple ways to finance college. There is federal financial aid. The application is free. It's called the Fafsa, free application for federal student aid. In that application, students are applying for multiple things. The first thing for our needier families is federal Pell Grants. Pell Grants are federal money that come from the government that does not have to be repaid. You cannot be delinquent on a Pell Grant because it's given to you. Okay, the next thing you're applying for with that application is federal student loans. And that money does have to be paid back. But what it does, it establishes some credit for that child. Interest rates are low. And this is a loan. It is not like going out there buying the most expensive car. This money that you invest for college is not gonna, the investment is not gonna depreciate. When you spend a lot of money on a brand new car, it depreciates as soon as you drive it off the lot. You put some of that money in your education, your value is going to go up. And then, of course, as Carol mentioned, there are institutional funds. I think she's involved with a private institution. So there are institutional funds at some schools, and then there are state funds as well. And then what I call Old Faithful is good old WORK, work study. All schools still have those programs, and that's to help that child finance their education. So we appreciate both of our panelists. We're not going to have time to go into any of our questions that we had, but we appreciate, I'm going to bring both of their pictures back up screen and take my face off so that you all can see our wonderful panelists. And Miss Carol, we thank you so much for being kind enough to come on after having had a dental procedure. We know that you have the heart of the children. I mean, it's in your heart. Pastor McBride, same for you, because you're in the trenches day by day. I saw a video that you did, an outdoor event with some children the other day, kind of teaching these young men how to man up and really do some things that they need to do. So thank you both. We appreciate you. To all of our participants, thank you so much for being with us today. Remember that this is a production of Oak Hill Regional Community Development Corporation. We administer Healthy Kids Mississippi for Medicaid and CHIP. We also do Get Covered Mississippi for the Affordable Care Act, Marketplace, Obamacare, whichever you want to call it. And we know the open enrollment for that begins in a few days. Finally, remember that you can learn more about us at www.oakhillregionalcdc.com and www.healthykidsms.org. Once again, we want to acknowledge our board chair, Jennifer Garrett, our executive director, Dr. Michael O. Minor. Also, this again has been a production of Oak Hill Regional Community Development Corporation, belonging, building, and bridging in the Mid-South region and across the state of Mississippi. Thank you all so much. We're going to sign off social media. If our Zoom participants will stay on for just a moment, I would appreciate it. And we won't stay on Zoom but about 5 minutes, but I do want to spend some time again thanking our panelists for sharing with us.